Hello everyone! Tonight we set sail into one of the most chilling and puzzling tales in maritime history. It is a story filled with terror, death, and unanswered questions. Imagine receiving a distress call from a ship far out at sea, a ship reporting that the entire crew was dying. Then, when rescuers finally reached the vessel, they found scenes so horrifying that even hardened sailors were shaken to their core. This is the legend of the SS Ourang Medan, a ghost ship that appeared out of nowhere, left behind only death, and vanished forever into mystery. Our story begins in the late 1940s, in the aftermath of the Second World War. The seas of the Pacific and the Indian Ocean were still filled with the scars of war wreckage, mines, and ships carrying secret cargo. Among the countless vessels navigating those waters was a Dutch cargo ship, the SS Ourang Medan. Records of this ship are scarce, and in fact, some historians argue that no such vessel even officially existed. Yet, the story persists because of the chilling nature of the events associated with it. According to reports, ships traveling through the Strait of Malacca, a vital shipping lane near Malaysia and Sumatra, picked up a distress signal. The message came in broken Morse code. The operator sending it seemed frantic, his words filled with panic. The message read, "All officers including captain are dead, lying in chartroom and bridge, possibly whole crew dead." There was a pause, then a final transmission came through. The words were short, terrifying, and unforgettable: "I die." After that silence, nearby ships rushed to respond. Among them was an American vessel, often identified as the Silver Star. The Silver Star altered its course and raced toward the coordinates of the Ourang Medan. Hours later, the crew of the Silver Star spotted the vessel. The Ourang Medan floated silently on calm waters, with no signs of life on deck. There was no movement, no response to signals, no crew visible. The decision was made to board the ship. A boarding party rowed across the waters and climbed aboard the Ourang Medan. What they found still stands as one of the most horrifying discoveries in maritime lore. The decks were littered with corpses. The crew of the Ourang Medan lay dead, their bodies twisted in grotesque positions. Their eyes were wide open, mouths frozen in silent screams, and their arms stretched out as if trying to fight off an unseen attacker. Some sailors lay on their backs, others slumped over equipment, all frozen in states of pure terror. Even the ship's dog was found dead, its face locked in a snarl, as though it had died defending itself against something terrible. The boarding party pushed deeper into the vessel. In the chartroom, the captain's body was slumped over, his lifeless eyes staring into nothingness. In the radio room, the radio operator who had sent the distress call was dead, his hand still resting on the telegraph key. Everywhere the same horrifying sight repeated: bodies sprawled, faces locked in expressions of terror, arms raised in futile defense. Strangely, there were no visible wounds on the bodies, no blood, no injuries, no sign of struggle. It was as if the entire crew had simply dropped dead in unison, all struck down by an invisible force. Even more unnerving was the unnatural chill aboard the ship. Despite the sweltering tropical heat outside, the air inside the Ourang Medan felt freezing cold, sending shivers through the rescuers. As the boarding party searched for clues, they realized there was no sign of what had caused the deaths. No smoke, no fire, no obvious poison. The ship's cargo holds were closed, its machinery intact. Yet something felt profoundly wrong. The sailors of the Silver Star began to feel uneasy. Before they could continue their investigation, however, smoke began to rise from the lower decks. The rescuers hurried back to their own ship, fearing an explosion. Moments later, flames engulfed the Ourang Medan. The fire spread rapidly, consuming the vessel. Then, with a thunderous explosion, the ship split apart and sank beneath the waves, taking with it all evidence of what had happened on board. The sea closed over the wreck, leaving behind only silence. The Ourang Medan was gone, its mystery sealed forever. News of the strange event spread quickly. Some newspapers reported it as fact, while others treated it as rumor. The details varied, but the central story remained the same: a ghost ship filled with corpses, a terrifying distress call, and a mysterious explosion that erased all traces. As the years passed, the tale of the SS Ourang Medan became one of the most enduring maritime mysteries. But with the sinking of the ship and the lack of official records, the truth has been lost in a fog of speculation and legend. The SS Ourang Medan is one of those mysteries that refuses to die. In Part 1, we follow the terrifying discovery of the ghost ship, a distress call, a crew found dead with faces twisted in terror, and an explosion that destroyed the vessel before any real investigation could be done. Now, let us dive into the theories, scientific, supernatural, and conspiratorial, that attempt to explain what might have happened aboard the Ourang Medan. One of the most popular explanations is that the ship was secretly carrying hazardous cargo. According to this theory, the Ourang Medan was involved in smuggling volatile chemicals, perhaps leftover weapons from World War II. Some researchers suggest it was transporting potassium cyanide and nitroglycerin, both highly dangerous substances. If such chemicals leaked into the air, they could have caused sudden poisoning, leaving the crew dead without visible injuries. The freezing cold reported by rescuers may have been a reaction to escaping gases, chilling the air before combustion led to the explosion. This theory fits with the suddenness of the deaths and the subsequent fire that consumed the ship. However, critics argue that there is no solid evidence the ship carried such cargo, and if it had, why would a cargo vessel risk transporting such unstable materials in secrecy? Another theory leans toward the natural and environmental. The Strait of Malacca and surrounding waters are known for pockets of volcanic activity. It's possible that the ship encountered a sudden release of methane or volcanic gas from the ocean floor. These gases, when inhaled, could cause hallucinations, panic, and eventual death. Methane can also displace oxygen, leaving people to suffocate without warning. Once exposed to the atmosphere, methane could ignite, explaining the fire and explosion. But again, there are problems. Methane gas poisoning might cause suffocation, but would it really leave the crew frozen in poses of sheer terror, their faces contorted in horror? That part of the story remains harder to explain. Then we come to the supernatural explanations. Some believe the Ourang Medan was cursed, perhaps carrying stolen artifacts or forbidden cargo. Maritime lore is filled with stories of cursed ships, doomed crews, and ghostly apparitions. The terrified expressions on the sailors' faces have been interpreted as evidence that they encountered something not of this world, spirits, demons, or an otherworldly presence that drove them to their deaths. The UFO theory also emerges here. Enthusiasts point to the mysterious distress call, the suddenness of death, and the absence of physical injuries as signs of an encounter with extraterrestrial forces. Perhaps the crew witnessed something in the sky, something that overwhelmed their senses and left them dead in terror. The sudden explosion could then have been the final cover-up of evidence by forces beyond human understanding. Others suggest the involvement of secret government experiments. The late 1940s was the dawn of the Cold War. Both the United States and the Soviet Union were experimenting with advanced weapons, psychological warfare, and chemical agents. Could the Ourang Medan have been caught up in a secret test, its crew becoming unwilling victims of an experiment gone wrong? But perhaps the most chilling theory of all is also the simplest, that the story is a fabrication. Some historians argue that no official records of the SS Ourang Medan exist in Dutch shipping registries. The earliest reports of the story appeared in newspapers and magazines, often with sensationalized details. The lack of verifiable evidence, no wreck, no cargo records, no official naval documentation, leads skeptics to believe the Ourang Medan may never have existed at all. Instead, it could be a sailor's tale that grew larger with each retelling, eventually becoming legend. Yet, the question remains, if it was just a story, why has it endured for so long? Why do accounts from different sources align on the eerie details of the terrified crew, the final distress call, and the sudden explosion? Fabrication or not, the Ourang Medan has carved its place in maritime mystery. The ghost ship story also echoes other chilling seafaring legends. For instance, the famous Mary Celeste, found adrift in the Atlantic in 1872, with its crew missing but ship intact. Or tales of the Flying Dutchman, the cursed vessel doomed to sail the seas for eternity. The sea is vast, unpredictable, and filled with danger. When ships vanish or are found in strange conditions, the line between fact and myth often blurs. Even today, the Ourang Medan fuels fascination. Documentaries, articles, and books revisit the tale, debating whether it was chemical poisoning, natural gas, or supernatural intervention. Some claim to have traced obscure shipping records that mention the vessel, though these are often disputed. The absence of conclusive evidence leaves the story wide open to interpretation, which is perhaps why it continues to captivate us. The image of the Ourang Medan lingers, a silent ship drifting on calm waters, filled with the frozen corpses of its crew, their eyes staring into nothingness, their arms reaching out in terror. The words of the final message, "I die," hang over the legend like a curse, chilling in their simplicity and finality. And then, as suddenly as it appeared, the ship was gone. Flames consumed it, an explosion tore it apart, and the sea swallowed the rest. Whether it was chemical cargo, a freak accident, alien forces, or pure fiction, the Ourang Medan remains a ghostly reminder of the mysteries that still haunt the oceans. So next time you hear of a ghost ship sighting, remember the tale of the SS Ourang Medan, a vessel that emerged from the fog of history, terrified those who found it, and vanished forever beneath the waves, leaving nothing but questions. The ocean keeps its secrets well, and the Ourang Medan may be one of its darkest.